Trump's very clear message to seniors in regards to COVID-19.
We're taking care of our
Blade
seniors.
Rider.
You're not vulnerable, but they like to say the vulnerable, but you're the least vulnerable. But for this one thing, you are vulnerable.
That's right.
Damn.
Now, why am I mentioning that? Well, because earlier today, breaking news, dun, 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 our current president of the United States of America, Jim Crow Joe, President Joseph Jebediah Brandon, was struck a devastating blow. He has tested positive for COVID-19.
This is an NBC News special report. Here's Savannah Guthrie.
Good morning, everybody. We are coming on the air with breaking news out of the White House. The president has tested positive for COVID-19. That, according to a statement from the White House released just moments ago. The White House saying that the president is experiencing mild symptoms and has started taking an antiviral medication called Paxlovid. Is continuing to work isolated at the White House. He is fully vaccinated and has received 2 booster shots, the most recent in March. I want to turn to White House correspondent Peter Alexander for an update. So the president has had some recent travel. I know he tested negative on Tuesday, 2 days ago. Now he has tested positive. Fill us in.
Yeah, Savannah, that's exactly right. We just received that official word from the press secretary here at the White House that the president tested positive for COVID-19 this morning. We should note, and we're just now learning, that the First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, tested negative this morning. She is traveling in Detroit right now. But as for the president, we've learned, according to the White House, and I want to go through their notes that we're just receiving, that
I'm not making a prediction on this because I feel like I haven't been hitting too hard with the predictions, okay? And, you know, I don't want to say, like, I think he'll survive. He has access to the best medical facilities and, like, people have a better grasp on how to deal with COVID. He's double boosted. There's Paxlovid, which is, like, pretty solid, too, as far as COVID treatments goes. And then, boom, have him fucking croak. And I don't want to say that Brandon is, like, 700 years old and is clearly demented. And who knows how his body is going to respond to this, like, otherwise deadly disease, especially considering the reality that his age group that he is in personally is like the perfect age group for dying of COVID. You know what I mean? He's right in there. He's right in the sweet spot. I'm not going to say either of those things. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to get fucking clapped or not by COVID. The reality is, though,
not every good.
The reality is that Brandon has COVID.
Consistent with CDC guidelines, they say the president will isolate here at the White House. He'll continue to carry out all of his duties, they say, during that time. They say that he has been in contact with members of the White House staff by phone this morning and will participate in his planned meetings at the White House this morning via phone and Zoom for the from the residents. So that's the best information that we are getting specifically about his plans going forward. But obviously, this is a significant headline. The 79-year-old president, the oldest president ever elected to office, now for the first time testing positive for COVID. Just yesterday, he was traveling. He was in Massachusetts, was scheduled to travel to Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania today for a separate event. Clearly, that's not going to take.
I know I said you should roll him out more frequently, but now I realize that maybe we rolled him out too hard. Maybe they wheeled his corpse out a little too aggressively because, you know, COVID is still popping. Also, this man is vindicated a little bit, at least. He's a little vindicated. He said, Joe Biden, you have 2 YIL.
Love this community. Keep up the great work. Philip.
And he was right. It has been 2 YIL. So kind of weird. My opinion on this sort of matter is similar to a friend of the show, Chapo Trap House's very own Felix Biederman, which is go for the weirdest possible thing that'll happen, like the funniest or the craziest possible thing that'll happen, because in American politics that often does happen. And the weirdest thing would be for fucking Donald Trump, whose veins are filled with lard, McDonald's lard, to completely fucking tank COVID at a time when it was way deadlier, and then Joe Brandon to not be able to do the same thing. That would be the funniest and weirdest fucking outcome, despite the fact that Joe Brandon can, like, bike and stuff. You know what I mean? What is this? Randomly found a clip of me playing COD with a Hasan take in the background that didn't age very well. Anyone who fucking tells you that there is a deliberate and serious effort to overturn Roe v. Wade, I'm sorry. I know. Oh yeah, no. I mean, I've talked about this already. I didn't believe it either. I didn't believe that it would happen. Pepela? No, it's me saying like I do not foresee Roe v. Wade being overturned because it's way more effective to dangle in front of the white evangelical class as a stick rather than like legitimately pushing for it. I think Kamala hoping to be the first woman president. I think so.
Take place as a function of his.
Stop making predictions ever, please. Man, I mean, for the record, like that prediction, just like everything else, is once again just a fucking prediction. Some of those are not going to be true.
12-month sub today. As silly.
They literally fucking decided to no longer dangle the carrot. They decided to give the carrot to the people. Now they got to find new carrots. That's why we got the whole I'm not going to codify, a defensive, or I'm not going to codify gay marriage, or I'm not going to codify fucking contraceptives arguments happening in the Congress currently. If all my fucking confirmation bias pull up all the shit you got right, I mean, yeah, I'm right on 90% of the things I say, and then the 10% is sometimes not correct. It's the analysis that you should. Focus on. I'm not like Nostradamus. I'm a fucking dumb himbo who is looking at the events that are unfolding, applying historical materialism to my analysis.
You really filled that void for me after he passed.
And sometimes I'm going to get things wrong, of course.
Requirements by protocol to isolate. So the questions become, how will this impact his schedule? How will his health be?
I mean, I literally just started saying that I just started the broadcast saying my predictions aren't always correct. Why I don't know what to say about the Brandon death poll. You know what I mean?
Going forward. Obviously, we've been paying close attention to his health over the course of the last year and a half, frankly, for the last 2.5 years almost since the pandemic began, where he had been very cautious and the president's aides had been quite cautious in doing their best to make sure that he would steer clear of COVID. Routinely throughout the course of this presidency, Savannah, as you know, those people who would be meeting with the president would be required to wear masks, but also, and this includes staff and other world leaders, they'd be required to test before they were around the president in close proximity with him or to him for any period of time. I was traveling overseas with the president just last week when he was in Israel. He was in the West Bank. He was in Saudi Arabia as well, where we don't know the specifics on his testing cadence there, though he last tested negative earlier this week. But certainly there were a lot of precautions taken during those visits as well. But obviously, during the course of travel, the potential also exists that the president could be among others who may have had this virus. So at this time, it remains unclear exactly where he would have got it, but most.
Yeah, but Brandon unfortunately had to cancel a trip to Pennsylvania where he had planned to propose a steep funding increase for police after testing positive for COVID-19. He was going to ask Congress to spend roughly $37 billion for fighting and preventing crime. And unfortunately, COVID took him out. I'm sure he will recover quickly and will turn around and get to achieve his dreams of funding the police even further. That's what we need to be doing at a time like this anyway. Fun fact about COVID funding and funding the police is like states like Louisiana, for example, and this is Jordan Yule's brilliant reporting on the matter, are using COVID funds to build prisons. 3 prisons specifically are being built with COVID funds in the state of Louisiana, as though they didn't have enough fucking prisons. They're like, we need to, and there's basically nothing that anyone can say or do about it. Where is it? Hold on. Oh, I mean, Brandon already said this. Leftover COVID funds should be put into hiring cops. Refund the police is what we're doing.
You're telling me
dude, honestly, like in America, whatever the left says, the Democratic Party is going to do the exact opposite. Whatever the streets say, whatever like the legitimate, grassroots mobilization is around, wherever there's like real momentum, Beldy got banned for writing in your chat, but wanted to invite you onto Click's stream to debate with Andrew Tate. I don't know if I should do that. Why are so many Democratic politicians suddenly trying to fund the police more? This seems like a useless attempt to maintain their moderate base. That is precisely what this is. Like, that's exactly what this is.
Game only Chan.
Whatever the Republicans do, the Democrats will do that, but pretending it's not. You're prepared, go. I am prepared, but I also want to fucking cover the news. It's just like debating is one thing, but God, the community that it brings in here is so fucking awful and nasty. They don't fight fairly. Like, debate bros and debate pervs on the internet never fight fairly. They'll use anything and everything to just like, and they're relentless. They'll use anything and everything against you in perpetuity. You know what I mean? It just sucks. Like, it just leaves like a really bad taste in your mouth. I've never fucking left a debate and been like, damn, that was fire. I'm so happy we had this conversation. I wrote about Alabama. Oh, it wasn't Louisiana. Fuck, it was Alabama. God damn it. I fucked it up. I'm so sorry. Alabama wants to use $400 million in COVID funds to... Wait, I am subscribed to this. Hold on. Okay, well, I can't get into it right now. But the Treasury also said it won't necessarily enforce those guidelines, basically. The Treasury inexplicably seemed to ignore its own rules for states that had already moved forward on projects that did not meet federal guidelines. In essence, Treasury rewarded states that jumped the gun by failing to wait for the final rules. Brandon says cities should spend leftover COVID funds on hiring cops. So there's that. All right, let's get back to it.
Notably, the White House says, to use their words, he is, quote, dealing with very mild symptoms, as they describe it, in an effort, Savannah, obviously, to try to downplay the seriousness of his health condition at this time. But we're going to have to ask further questions, and we'll pay a close attention to how he does in the days ahead. Yeah, importantly, there is now Paxlovid, which is one of the therapeutic medicines that is prescribed in the early days of a positive COVID diagnosis. So the president is on that. There are also monoclonal antibodies, which can be given in a situation like this. Does not sound like that has happened so far. Not only is it a question of where he may have gotten it, and this subvariant of Omicron is extremely contagious, so it's really difficult to say. But the White House statement also mentioned reaching out to the close contacts of the president, those he had been around in the last few days. What has that schedule been like? You mentioned the overseas travel. He came back early this week. The president is constantly meeting with lawmakers and dignitaries and officials. So how do you see that playing out in terms of the close contacts and those in the president's circle? Well, he certainly has had a series of events. Yesterday, the most notable one that was the public visit that he made to Massachusetts, where he was there with members of his staff and some other lawmakers.
Hold on, is this real? Every time Donald Trump posts something, I'm always like, is it real or is it fake? But then also at the same time, it's like a little fun game to play where you're like, is it real or is it fake? Joe Biden, who many have said is our worst president, has come down with a case of the China virus. Despite being vaccinated, I hope Sleepy Joe is able to bounce back quickly, much as I was. Doctors describe my fight against the China virus as Herculean, and not meaning the woke Disney Hercules, but rather the Kevin Sorbo one. Oh, this is fake. The Lou Ferrigno one as well. No, this is not real. Trump is one, pro-vax, and two, he wouldn't get this deep into the weeds of like which kind of Hercules he's talking about. Joe, I wish you a speedy recovery, even though you are taking America in the wrong direction. No one wants Kamala. Wait, that part this seems real, though. Okay, hold on. We're back. We're back to thinking that this is real. No one wants Kamala. The last part is kind of real. I think what he should have mentioned, what he would have normally mentioned is like how easily he recovered from COVID and how hard it's going to be for Biden to recover from COVID. And how, like, the lying fake news media said, Trump would not recover from COVID because he's unhealthy, even though the doctors said that he is super healthy. Bro, you got duped by the Jubilee guy. Don't fall for the sheet of e-paper. First of all, motherfucker, the Jubilee guy, I literally got duped by my own Jubilee guy, okay? He's one of you. If he's good at duping someone like myself, it's because he fucking learned the ways of the blade here. So that's a moment where I'm proud. I'm proud of this community. I'm proud of the chatters in here, and I'm proud of myself too. It's like if I'm a fucking karate master, okay, and you're in my dojo, and you've trained in my dojo, and you beat the shit out of people that even I would not be able to beat the shit out of, I'm going to be proud of that, you know? But yeah, no, I don't think this is real, even though I want it to be. But I'm sure I'm sure Trump will have an even funnier take on this. He deserves a Bugatti for that. Bugatti. Anyway, Kevin Sorbo reposted it. Lamau. Well, Kevin Sorbo, not unsurprising. His last statement was from 2 days ago, airing some impossible to understand grievance against somebody in Wisconsin. No, it wasn't an impossible to understand grievance from someone in Wisconsin.
Boggies.
It was actually, he was talking about like Dropbox votes and how he's supposed to fucking, what do you call it? He was talking about Dropbox votes and how like he needs to overturn the results. Let's finish this.
Elizabeth Warren, Senator Markey, they were among those who were in attendance for his remarks there in Massachusetts. But I want to go through some of the other detail that we're getting. And the White House is communicating how it's going to keep the American people up to date on the situation as it relates to the president. They say out of an abundance of transparency, the White House will provide a daily update on the president's status as he continues to carry out the fullest duties of the office while in isolation. Per the standard protocol for any positive case, the White House medical unit is, as you note, informing all the close contacts, including members of Congress, though they don't detail who those may be, and any members of the press who interacted with the president during yesterday's travel. The president's last previous test, Savannah, as we just reported, was on Tuesday when his test result was negative. He was at church when he got back from overseas on Sunday, very briefly. We did see him again publicly, as I noted yesterday, but his public appearances have been quite limited. So for now, we only have sort of a limited view of specifically who he would have been around in the course of the last couple days, the last 48 hours, where he may have been in a position to...
Listen, none of these motherfuckers die, okay? They don't die. You know who dies? Herman Cain. Like, if you are a world leader, you have literally the best fucking medicine, dude. You have the best doctors. You have the best fucking access to medication. Like, it's not going to happen.
To infect others around him, but certainly those are going to be questions that we're going to be asking here at the White House.
Yeah, and you started to touch on this, Peter, but it's... Is
Brandon dying a positive or a negative thing? No, it's a negative thing because, like, then Kamala Harris comes into power, and Kamala Harris is also awful. It's a thing, okay? Brandon being alive and being like a half alive corpse being trotted out every now and then is a thing. So is Brandon dying from COVID. Everything is bad, okay? There is no positive scenario. There's no really like all that much worse scenario. We're talking about margins, okay? We're literally talking about fucking margins. Yeah. Oh, now it makes sense. Yeah, I know. I posted this on my Instagram earlier today.
That's flex.
Can you imagine if Kamala had to do this shit? Kamala is so bad, despite having like her mental faculties in order as a consequence of being much younger than Brandon. She is still very much just as impossible to comprehend. So that's cool that like we have the situation in our hands. That's our future. I gotta pee. I'll be back 1 second.
Because the president, any president, is well protected. A president who's 79 years old in the face of a COVID pandemic, certainly all the more so. And there are protocols that he has been observing since he came into office about who can have contact with the president and what you have to establish to become in close contact with the president. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, the White House has been very strict in these protocols, and frankly, for the course of the time that since his presidency began, in order to be in what we describe as the press pool, that immediate group of reporters who would interact with the president in some close space, you would have to test negative that day, which is to say, if you were being invited into the Oval Office, you would have had to have a negative test before you spent any time around the president. And that wasn't unique to the press, Savannah. That applied to the members of Congress, to the world leaders, and to the members of the president's own staff, who we would routinely see wearing different neon bracelets, those sort of, those stick-em bracelets that we've been wearing so so often as part of this procedure over the course of the last couple of years that would indicate that they were negative as you walked around campus. And if you were positive, you not only were not allowed on campus, but would have to test negative multiple times before your return after at least a period of, I believe it was 10 days. I tested positive a while back, and those restrictions were certainly applied to me as they are applied to everybody else. So the effort was to make sure that anybody who came into proximity with the president had to have those tests. There were obviously large events, big gatherings on the South Lawn. Not every individual who would gather for that would need to.
Okay, hold on. I'm getting in the call right now, chat. Hold up.